Hi, I'm Caroline, and during these next 4 minutes, I'm going to show you what I like to do. So, since I'm already in costume, I'd like to start off talking about my art. Back during COVID, I found myself with a lot more free time, and I decided to spend about a month and a half making this Sabine Wren costume for one of my favorite shows, Rebels. And here I am on Lothal. I've had a lot of other art projects over the past 8 years. Although I normally use oil and acrylic paint, I like to go outside of my comfort zone of art often. I've done works in digital art, charcoal, wood burning, and even fashion design, which led me to participate in my first local trash show. I like to use art to learn about the world around me too. When traveling to Greece, I took time to stand in front of sculptures and monuments, and I sketched them to take a look at details that I wouldn't have noticed if I just took a picture. I've had my works displayed at my school, my local library, and at the Worcester Art Museum. Although I'm displaying the works that I'm the most proud of, there's also plenty that did not turn out so great. But instead of burning those or throwing them away, I always keep them in my room so I can look back at them and the mistakes that I made. Because every one of those paintings is a lesson that I learned and applied to the next one. The reason I love art is because there's always a new way for me to challenge myself and always another thing that I can improve in. My most recent personal project is of a mountain in Poland called Giewont. Working on this was a way for me to celebrate my heritage as well as challenge myself. It's much larger than any painting I've done before, so I had to get used to using a lot more paint at a time than with any normal painting. Although my technique had to change through trial and error, I approached it with the same process that I use with any project. I started by breaking things down into parts and sketching out my plan, and then painting vague shapes that with layers would start coming into focus. My paintings always have this ugly phase where things haven't come together yet, but with shadows and details will start to take shape. My process involves steps of layering and building things on top of one another, with one fundamental practice throughout: standing back and looking, to make sure I see the bigger picture. I put myself in the shoes of whoever's looking at my artwork. When they first see it, it'll be from far away, so all they'll see is the larger project. Details are useless if they don't have a good composition to support them. Anyway, here's the finished project. I don't only use my art process for art. My mind is very visual, so I've approached essays, presentations, and pretty much all of my projects at school with the same process as when I paint. Even with wordy math problems, I break them down into simpler equations in the same way that I look at a complicated reference and break it down into simpler shapes. Even with something as technical as building a catapult, I use that same process, and at the end I added some creative pizzazz. Art has taught me to see everything through a different lens and not be intimidated by the planning phase. It has given me a process for tackling any multi-layered project or problem, confidence that I can overcome setbacks like the ugly phase, and the discipline to follow a schedule and a self-imposed deadline. Now, please don't get the idea that all I do is paint in my basement. I like to spend time outdoors hiking, biking, and especially skiing. Whenever someone asks me if I'm a good skier, I always respond with, well, I love skiing. I've been skiing for most of my life, and like art, there's always something I can improve in or a new difficult trail I can challenge myself with. Because I love skiing, I'm always trying to get better, and when I fall, I make sure to always get up and learn from that fall, which is why I've gotten good at it. I've shared this love of skiing with my students too. I became an instructor at the very same place I learned to ski, Neshoba. After doing this for 2 years, I decided to take things to the next level and challenge myself further by becoming a patroller.